Hello YouTubers, so this is a video response to Sheslocdup, and the topic is, could submission heal the relationships of black men and women? Now, right off the bat, my answer to that is yes. I do believe that submission could heal our relationships. Now, there are multiple aspects to that though. It goes way deeper than just yes or no. First off, I believe a big problem is that when it comes to submission, first of all, people automatically, put that word or associate that word with women and a woman submitting to her man. Now, I don't believe that there is anything wrong with that. But I think the problem lies in how people interpret submission. I think that now in 2011, black women feel that submitting to a man means, giving up her power, giving up her voice. You know what I'm saying? They get this image of this meek woman who isn't heard, who does what her man tells her to do. Her life just revolves around this man. And unfortunately, some black men, may also have this same view. Now, if that's your idea of what submission is, and if that works for you, then, do that because that works for you. Now, I think the thing is that we, as black women, are being taught that we have to be strong and we can't depend on anybody but ourselves, and we have to be the ones to, provide for our families and all these things. We are basically assuming the roles of what our men are supposed to do for us. And I also think that we have somewhere in our history, we have started to believe the negative hype about ourselves to the point that we are looking at each other as the enemy. Black men are looking at black women and saying, we have baggage and our attitudes and all these other things, and that's why black men don't date black women. And black women are looking at black men like, well, you guys can't keep jobs and you have all these kids running around, and that statistically really isn't the case. And it's like we are now looking at each other as the enemy. We can't even communicate with each other. I think a big problem is our communication. We aren't even listening to each other. No, you know what I'm saying? And when we hear these things, for example, if a black woman hears a black man ranting about the reasons why, he won't date a black woman, we immediately put up these walls that we have been taught to build around ourselves. And it goes to, well, you choosing to date this woman instead of a beautiful black woman, and you know what I'm saying? It's like we're not hearing what he's actually saying, and we're not taking that and going, well, maybe he came across the wrong black woman at the wrong time in his life, and he now believes that X, Y, and Z is true about black women in general. We're not seeing it as, well, what is it about black women? What is it that we are doing to push black men away from us? And the same goes for black men. What is it that you're doing that's making black women generalize you all into this category that you guys are just not worth our submission? You guys aren't worth our respect. And respect is a big part of submission. You know what I'm saying? You are basically yielding yourself to, in this case, this other person, to their, their judgments, to their decisions. You have this deep respect, this high reverence for this person, that you will humble yourself to them. And that's a big problem in our community. We cannot humble ourselves. We cannot just, take a step back and reevaluate us. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's too many grown boys and girls and not enough adults in this generation. I'm talking about my generation. I'm 20. So, and not just this is like 2011. This is like this whole decade, this whole time, you know what I'm saying, that we cannot find it in ourselves to just humble ourselves to our own faults. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's a big problem if two grown kids are together instead of two adults. Okay, for example, how many times do you hear, well, I'm grown, so blah, 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 blah. And how many times do you hear, you know what I'm saying, black men, well, I'm a grown ass man. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, physically you are grown, but you're not an adult, because as an adult, you don't have to say, well, I'm grown. People are going to be able to see that from the way you carry yourself, from the way that you take care of your household, from the way you handle your business. You're not going to have to go around saying all these things. And I think that is a problem. There are not enough people willing to be adults to even begin to, you know what I'm saying, start this whole submission process. I feel like, personally, I grew up being taught that, men are not, men really aren't worth anything. It's black men in particular, that they don't take care of their families, that, they're just no good, and that they really can't love a woman truly. These are the things that I was taught. And until recently, I didn't even realize I was carrying around these beliefs, towards my own people, really. But now, being in an adult relationship, it's like, first of all, you have to submit yourself. You have to, you know what I'm saying, be open to your relationship. We are not doing that as a people. We're not. The level of respect you have to have for somebody to submit yourself is just, beyond us at this point in time. There's just such a big rift between black men and black women, and it's just being reinforced every, generation. I'm 20 and I'm saying this, you know what I'm saying? It's being reinforced, it's being taught over and over again, in our households. If there is not a male present, this shows the importance of two-parent households. Not saying that single-parent households, you know what I'm saying, can't produce a well-adjusted human being, but, two-parent households. If there is not a male figure, okay, to teach this young man how to really be a man, You know what I'm saying? If there is not that male figure there to reinforce getting up and going to work in the morning and coming home and, you know what I'm saying, taking out the trash, mowing the lawn, and listening to his partner, there's a communication, you know what I'm saying, that we're missing. And, you know, a person views submission as giving up their voice, and that's not the case, because I feel that a real man, even though he is the head of the household, he still is supposed to look at his wife as his equal. Okay? Even though she has submitted to him, because this is even a part of gender roles. You know, she still has to be heard, and because that's her house too. You know what I'm saying? She's providing for the house, especially now. Women are in the dominated workforce right now. You know, there are more and more men who are like stay-at-home fathers. So, you know, women, even then, even then, a woman is still, she should still submit to her husband. I think people feel like by doing that, the relationship is no longer, you know, 50-50. And unfortunately, relationships are not that easy. Love is not that easy. It's not 50-50 all the time, because what if something happens to this person and they can no longer, you know, provide like they did before? Does that mean you just stop, you know, being a certain way or loving that person or submitting to that person because they can no longer give X, Y, and Z? No, that just means for the time being, it's going to be, you know, a 70-30 relationship, but that person is still supposed to give 100% of what they can to it. And I think some men, because of the lack of, you know, that male figure, they're not learning these things. And, you know, the female figure comes in and says, well, this is how you talk to a woman. You still listen to her. You still care for her. You still nurture her. You still support her. You know, and that's just not the case. Personally, I just can't look at a black man as the enemy anymore. I understand that in my relationship, when I find that one particular person, well, I have, but it's like you have to really take in account who you decide to submit to. Because if you submit to the wrong person at the wrong stage in your life, you can seriously like tarnish your image, not only of relationships, but of that whole, you know, role that you are supposed to play. You know, you may end up being hung up on, well, in this relationship, you know, I submitted and I did this, and this, and he took advantage of it. And so now you are tainted by that. And it affects your next relationship. I guess it's really all about the person that you choose. You know, choose a person that's right for you. Choose a person that's going to do the things that you want them to do, that you expect in a partner. Talk about things beforehand. Get to know the person that you think you want to be with. And you know what I'm saying? If all things happen right, then I think that submission and falling into your role just kind of happens naturally. But that's my 2 cents on the matter. So rate, comment, subscribe, like, whatever. See y'all later.